theme that has come up regularly on this podcast over the past couple of years is that of regrets. And I think about your work sometimes through the lens of regret. What is the cost of people not optimizing their brains, not doing the things that you recommend that will help them with their focus, their memory, their performance, and ultimately their brain health?
I spend a lot of time every year in senior centers, in nursing homes, maybe because I lost my grandparents at such an early age. I go there I go there initially to help them with their memory, to polish off their memories, because I feel like when we lose our memory, if you know somebody who's lost their memory through brain aging or other conditions, it's like they lose who they are. You know, it's almost like our identity, our humanity is a tapestry of our life. But if you were to erase that, then who are we, right? So while we teach people how to remember facts, figures, foreign languages, formulas, so on, I think remembering your loved ones, remembering your lessons, remembering the times you laughed and loved and lived are most important. But when I'm in these senior centers, I gain a lot of wisdom because I didn't have those grandparents to pass on that information, the life experience. I believe the life you live are the lessons you teach others. But I also hear regret, exactly what you said. And somehow they limited their life because they didn't pursue a relationship because of what people thought about that relationship or that person. Or maybe they chose a career path because it was expected of them by their parents or something like that. So there's this form of regret that comes out. And I just want to remind everybody who's listening, when we're taking our final breaths, and it's not a positive thing to think about maybe, but beginning with the end in mind and making the most of your time, when you're taking your final breaths, none of other people's opinions or expectations are going to matter. None of our fears are going to matter at the moment. What's going to matter are the things like, how we laughed, how we loved, how we learned, how we lived. And it's knowing that could inform what we do today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And a lot of us have past histories. We talked about this in the previous episode, that things shaped us. And I would say that while I just really do believe while change and growth is scary, nothing is as scarier as regret, or nothing is as scarier as being stuck somewhere you're not supposed to be.
Yeah. Life is short, right?
It is. And then yet today in the now, Eckhart Tolle's work, the power of now is what we have. And I think our now is more powerful than all our yesterdays combined, because this is where we could actually, affect change.
Yeah, I think now that I have been for a few years now on the other side of 40, you start to look at life differently. You start to realize that actually time is limited, right? You understand this concept more and more of mortality, that life can keep getting better and better for sure, but at some point it's going to end. Yeah. And I think that's been such a powerful realization for me, because it then gives an urgency to day-to-day life. It doesn't mean you have to get out of bed and be stressed out. I don't mean that kind of urgency. I mean the sort of urgency where I feel that every day counts. Right? Yeah. You don't have limitless time, to use the name of your book, right? You don't have limitless time. Time actually is limited. And therefore, the habits and the practices you recommend people to improve their brain, their focus, their productivity, to help them read faster, to learn more things. I actually think there's an urgency there for all of us to start engaging with those things. Otherwise, without us realizing it, we're kind of just wasting our days.
Yeah, there's that mental exercise, this thought experiment, and I would challenge everyone to do this with us. It's that idea that some of us have seen, you might have heard of it. It's like if you were to wake up and there was 86,400 whatever pounds, euros, dollars, whatever in your bank account, and and it's yours every single day. But at the end of the day, it vanishes. And then it replenishes the next day. And the idea behind it, this thought experiment, is what would you do with that money? If you woke up and there was $86,400 in your account, but you knew at midnight it was going to disappear, how would you invest that money? And you would invest in things that really mattered, right? That could be there for you. But that's our time, because there are 86,400 seconds in a day. 86,400 seconds in one day. And it's the same thing. Whatever we don't invest into the future, we just lose. And then it's also interesting to think about, because let's say you're in your day and you're somewhere and somebody treats you badly, maybe a stranger on the street, and you lose 10 seconds of just anger. You wouldn't spend all the other money trying to get back that $10, no. Right? But a lot of us do that, and I'm guilty of it also as well. Yeah. You get slighted, or you get a comment on social media, and it just you could dwell on it for 10 seconds. But some people, what they do is they take all their other money or their time, hours, to get back that 10 seconds, which they'll never do. Yeah. Right? And it's a great analogy, this idea that we're spending time all the time. We're spending it. Yeah. We don't think about that, but we are spending it. Now, I really like this analogy, but I imagine some people could misinterpret it and go, okay, that means time is limited. I need to make the most out of each day, which I don't disagree with. I think we should try and make the most out of each day. But some people, especially in this culture, will interpret that as the most out of each day means working as much as I can. But that's not what you mean, is it? No, I mean, I think it's what it really important. Everyone's a little bit individual, just like even with nutrition, everyone's a little bio-individual based on their values that they hold. I think it's very important. So, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I do this thought experiment where I imagine myself, again, coming back that night into bed. Fast forward to the end of the day, and my wife asks how my day was, and I say, today was amazing. What a happy day. What a great day. And then I ask myself, what had to happen that day, today, in order for me to feel that way? And I just think of 3 things personally and professionally, and that's my target. Because there's a book by Dr. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that says, begin with the end in mind. And that's my way of practicing that, meaning that when it's time to celebrate in sports, for example, because you see a scoreboard and if you've won. Well, I don't think we create that for our day. And, this cliche where nobody comes to the end of their life wishing they spend more time in the office, right? But beginning with the end in mind, I feel like sometimes we're burnt out, not because we're doing too much in our day, but maybe we feel burnt out because we're doing too little of the things that light us up, that make us come alive, and designing a life around that. And for everybody, it's different. It might be work. Some people, they love it and it juices them. I love my work also, but I think it's important to also have a harmony in terms of the elements that, make us more whole. Yeah. And so, and time, I like this conversation because I've never talked about it, but it's really the thing that we all have that's equal. That's probably the only thing, because everybody has different levels of education, opportunity, network, income, but we all have 24 hours in a day. And that's, but it's how we use that time that really, I feel like, matters.